आज हम बात करेंगे CGPSC असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर इंग्लिश के लिए 2025। सुनने में आया है कि बहुत जल्द AP का नोटिफिकेशन आने वाला है, तो इसीलिए हम लोग स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं CGPSC असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर इंग्लिश सब्जेक्ट के लिए। तो इंग्लिश की अगर बात करें, इंग्लिश लिटरेचर स्पेसिफिकली सिलेबस में हम देखते हैं उसमें कई सारे सेक्शंस होते हैं कि सेक्शन ए में कई सारे टॉपिक्स, सेक्शन बी में कई सारे टॉपिक्स। लेकिन अगर हम सिलेबस को थोड़ा पर्टिकुलरली देखें उसमें हमें देखने को मिलेगा कि जो पीरियड है हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का वो लिटरेरी टाइप्स में दिया गया है, ठीक है। तो उस टाइप्स के बारे में आज हम थोड़ा सा चर्चा करेंगे। जैसे सेक्शन ए में आप देख सकते हैं कि लिरिक, एपिक, ओड, सोनेट, ऐसे कई सारे लिटरेरी टाइप्स हमें देखने को मिलते हैं। हाँ, तो मैं ये बता रहा था कि सेक्शन ए में हमें कई सारे लिटरेरी टाइप्स देखने को मिलते हैं। आज हम बात करेंगे सोनेट एंड रेनेसा। तो सोनेट जानने के लिए बस हम क्या जानते हैं, व्हाट वी नो दैट सोनेट रेफर्स टू 14 लाइन्स पोएम, but we need to understand a lot of other things as well to understand, because in exam there can be some other questions coming from sonnet. So we have to read and study sonnet from a different angle as well, and that we will see today. So as you see in the board, I have written sonnet and renaissance. Sonnet and renaissance. Now what is sonnet? It is important to understand at the very first place what is sonnet. Sonnet is a 14 line poem, जैसा कि आप लोगों को पता ही है, लेकिन उससे भी ज़्यादा कई सारी चीज़ें हमें जानना ज़रूरी है। पेट्रार्क, इटालियन सोनेटियर, was from Italy, and he talks about Renaissance, because in Italy there was Renaissance going on. But by the way, what is Renaissance? Renaissance refers to revival of learning. कौन सा learning? Classical learning. Okay, so Renaissance refers to the revival of learning, and also this age most probably this is 15th century or end of the 14th century, where what we see, the influence of humanism, influence of Renaissance, these are the cultural and social aspects that reflect in literary tradition, specifically in sonnet tradition. Okay, so you know Sir Philip Sidney, Astrophel and Stella, and many other collections done by Sidney, Spencer's Amoretti, Michael Drayton, Daniel, Henry Constable. So there are many names for this poetic tradition, we can say, that is sonnet. So how Renaissance is important in the tradition of sonnet? Before Renaissance, there I am talking about the history of 15th century English literature. You know, before Renaissance, the father of Queen Elizabeth, Henry VIII, what he did, he challenged Roman Catholic Church and said, we will not follow Roman Catholicism, we will not follow this Orthodox religion and its institutional values. Rather, we will establish our own church, and he called it Anglican Church, and they become Protestant. So it is Henry VIII with whom we got to know Protestantism. But there are many other stories also that his daughter Queen Elizabeth did not follow his father's ideology, and she countered the reformation that her father used to do. So there is counter reformation, okay, after Henry VIII's reformation. So these stories are there. But what is more important, that in Renaissance we see the free will, the importance of free will, not driven by religion but by human reason, logic, rationality, human intelligence. Because there was another movement called humanism. ह्यूमनिज्म बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया था उस टाइम. क्यों? क्योंकि इट हैज़ बिकम ह्यूमन सेंटर्ड यूनिवर्स. ठीक है, ह्यूमन सेंटर्ड यूनिवर्स. सो पीपल स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन द माइंड, ऑन द ह्यूमन माइंड, ऑन ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस. ओके, सो आप लोग देख सकते हैं कि सोनेट ट्रेडिशन कैसे इम्पोर्टेंट. जैसे कोई भी सोनेट्स अगर हम लेते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल सर फिलिप सिडनीज एस्ट्रोफेल एंड स्टेला, इट इज़ अ कलेक्शन ऑफ सोनेट्स. बहुत सारे सोनेट्स थे उसमें. आई एम गिविंग वन एग्जांपल दैट इज़ लविंग इन ट्रूथ. It is taken from Astrophel and Stella, Loving in Truth. Now, everyone, those students of English literature must have read in your BA or MA semesters Loving in Truth. Now, if you remember the last line of Loving in Truth by Sidney, look in thy heart and write. Now, look into your own heart and write your emotion, write your expression. Okay, so this is for the first time that human mind, human heart is given importance. So this is also one of the prime examples of Renaissance, that one can write what his human heart and mind think, right? So that's why we see lot of sonnet sequences were produced by Sidney, by Spencer, by Michael Drayton, Henry Constable and many others. Okay, and we know the division 8 plus 6, and all of these sonnetiers, English sonnetiers, were heavily influenced by Petrarch, by Petrarchan sonnet tradition. Now, what is more important in the next place is what are the chief characteristics. अगर मान लीजिए कि पूछा जाए एग्जाम में कि describe the chief characteristics of English sonnet, तो there can be 3 to 4 important aspects that became a kind of motive, central aspects है वो. Number 1, ease. जैसे हम बोलते हैं टेक इट ईजी. सो ईज, देयर इज़ नो हरी, देयर इज़ नो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी. सो स्पीक विथ ईज. देयर इज सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ ईजीनेस, expressing certain things with ease. That was one of the aesthetic qualities in the sonnet tradition. It was heavily influenced by Petrarch. Next point मैं बताता हूँ. Next point है grace. You know, in the courtly tradition, as we are dealing with sonnet, so that was the time of courtly tradition and courtly culture. Courtly love became very popular at that time. So grace, as you see, the poet lovers are expressing their love towards their lady love, but it is not said in a very unsophisticated way. It is said with a certain amount of grace, certain amount of refinement and sophistication. Okay, so it is not accepted that anybody who is not sophisticated, uncouth can express. You have to please the the person that whom you are addressing to. So there is certain amount of grace. Next is finesse. Finesse मतलब है a sort of perfection. So if you read any of the sonnets, you will find either perfect love, searching for perfect love, searching for perfect word, searching for perfect beauty. So there is always a search for something. Okay, so if is a sonnet, every sonnet has this search for some sort of perfection. So that's why finesse. So these three are the central aspects of English sonnet tradition. And these things came only with the help of Renaissance. Renaissance gives birth to these, aesthetic appeal, aesthetic aspects of sonnet. That's why sonnet is more important, and sonnet becomes very pertinent and is in context of the period of Renaissance. तो बस आज के लिए इतना ही. So we discussed sonnet and Renaissance. What is sonnet? What are the structure of sonnet, and some socio-cultural aspects of sonnet, how sonnets are produced, and certain names of English sonneteers. ठीक है. In the next class we will come with complete syllabus study. हम बहुत जल्द आएंगे क्योंकि असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर इंग्लिश पोस्ट और कई सारे अदर दूसरे सब्जेक्ट्स का भी पोस्ट आने वाले हैं बहुत जल्द. नोटिफिकेशन बहुत जल्द रिलीज़ होने वाला है, ये न्यूज़ हमें आया है. सो वी इनवाइट यू टू आवर कोचिंग and hope we will do a good job. So thank you.